welcome to episode 4 on our series on healthy habits. We're talking naturopathic.
Let's go.
And the approach and topics on that. So please elaborate. What does this mean for the people?
Okay, so naturopathic approach to wellness. We look at the wellness foundations, and so we've talked about those a lot throughout the podcast, like with sleep, water, and hydration, and also nutrition, and our environment, people who are around, our relationships, so on and so forth. And so we've really been touching a lot on those, but diving deeper into it. And then how do we use this at home? I think the teachings that naturopathy has provided for us, it's available for everybody to jump into and learn. It's just a matter of, implementing the steps to do that. So for one is testing your pH, figuring out where that level is in your body, testing urine and saliva to do that. When I mention that to a lot of people, they're like, well, I'm going to get my blood checked for blah, 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 blah. I'm not talking about pH in your blood.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different.
Yeah, that's all air, blood, gas, or ABG. So yeah, somebody, and this is pretty new to me, coming out of healthcare. So like pH, and that's what we check it with ABGs, air, blood, gas. But how would you do it as a naturopath?
So
what's the simplest way and what's the most effective way?
The way I was taught, and there's different categories. How do I want to say this? There are different types of practitioners in naturopathy, and there's some that are more medical, like based, and all the things. But the way I was taught is to just take a litmus paper and test just straight out. Just put saliva onto the test strip, and then take another test strip, test the urine, and then see how that matches up. But you have to know what the step to knowing what it should be is knowing where, what that range, that optimal range is. Because, anybody can pick up the litmus paper and test it and be like, well, I don't know what that means. So a naturopath is somebody who helps to teach and educate on why, perhaps that this is where it is, and then how do we help to balance that out.
Okay.
And address, really just working on addressing the homeostasis, balance of the body. So
yeah, which is the most important part, because when you're in homeostasis, you're balanced.
Yeah,
life's good.
Right. When
you step out of it, that's when the fun happens.
Yeah, and emotions is a big thing that does impact your pH, because acidic thoughts, they say, is acidic pH. So the more negativity you have going through your mind, it's more likely that you're going to have an acidic pH.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. I don't think many people are thinking of their emotions impacting other parts of their body in that way.
Yeah.
It all relates back to serotonin in the end. Serotonin's like the great ruler of the body. And if you're more negative, you have lower serotonin levels. And if you have lower serotonin levels, you have worse digestion. And 90% of your body's ruled by serotonin. So I can see how that relates. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And your subconscious mind rules your body as well. So.
Okay, so then taking your subconscious mind, thinking about the things that you tell yourself or that you think about throughout the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think it was in a book you gave me with that doctor. It was a Frequency of Love book, and it talked about 74,000 thoughts a day are subconscious, as opposed to the 1% that you're conscious of.
Yeah.
So that's why they endlessly say like your subconscious mind rules your life. But
so yeah, if you're thinking about things like if you're looking in the mirror and don't like how you look, and you're like, oh my gosh, I am, and then whatever the adjective is, and then you're constantly thinking about that over and over again, or like, that adds up. That's taxing.
Yeah, and then what would that do to your pH? So that would make it acidic.
Yeah.
This is something people can readily, like you said at the beginning of the episode, they can readily test their pH. We're just going and getting paper.
Yeah, picking up, there's different kind of litmus paper, obviously, because, you can pick up test paper for your pool, so it's, there's a certain kind, and we have this all laid out on revolutionarywellness.com and the Health on Track program that you can get, but it is all there, because, once you have the guideline of how to test it, it just, that was the biggest topic that when I was learning about this, it just blew my mind how much it impacted our overall health, but how little so many people know about it. It seems like it's not talked about.
No.
Yeah.
So
It sounds a lot cheaper than going to the doctor and getting your labs drawn too.
that's what I mean. And who wants to be jabbed in the arm? Like, no, thank you.
And then on top of that, I mean, you could at least track it and see your progress too.
Yeah, and you can track it multiple times a day if you really wanted to.
Very cool.
That's interesting. It's almost like a mentality check. You know,
Yeah.
throughout the day, you can see where you're at.
Yes. Yes.
And how quick would you expect to see shifts in pH?
Pretty quick.
Pretty quick?
Pretty quick, because like, I mean, we recommend not testing your pH first, especially your urine pH first thing in the morning.
Yeah,
with the first
three,
four.
yeah, 3 or 4 would.
It's as long as it's after the first one, in this case, but because like you're holding on to all the toxicity from your
Yeah.
body overnight.
Yeah, your bladder fills overnight,
Right.
Yeah.
so it's going to be more concentrated with everything that you're detoxing.
Yeah,
when
and then
you
it's
rest
kind
in
of,
bed.
if you're more of an experimental type and wanting to test multiple times a day, like see what it's like after you eat certain meals, or you know when you don't eat a meal or whatever, and just kind of see, writing it down possibly, like if you're wanting to do that, and finding the patterns of, you know, if you're journaling what you're eating
I was
too.
about to say, you could almost make a daily journal, like
You really
test your
could.
pH, all the foods you ate that day, whether
Mhm.
they're acidic or basic, whether you were stressed or not,
Yeah.
and then at the end of the day, do another strip, and then kind of track longitudinally. That would be cool. And then
Which, yeah, that's what I actually put in
Yeah.
my the ebook that you can download on Health on Track too.
Perfect.
So
And
it's
then-
like a little guide, like tracking
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And then you can essentially find out what your triggers are if you don't know what your triggers are, or find out like what new triggers are that you can add to your list of triggers.
Yeah, or maybe, you know, something happened where somebody just completely stressed you out that day, and you can
Yeah.
write that in there. Like it's
And your
interesting
pH
to see what
shoots
happens.
up. Like,
Just never know, yeah, how things impact your body like
Yeah.
that.
that's cool.
Well, it's interesting. I feel like this is a nice wrap up with the journaling idea and keeping track of what improves your pH levels. You can then incorporate those things into your morning and nightly routines, like we've talked about.
Yes.
Yeah. Boom.
Amazing.
Yeah, full circle on this
Amazing.
episode.
Awesome. So, any final takeaways on really just the series as a whole, or could be specifically on this episode?
Drink more water, eat less processed food, sleep, and listen to your body.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think the big thing is listen to your body, and if you don't have a routine, develop some type of a routine, or at least create the intention to create the routine,
Yeah.
and then let your subconscious mind go after it.
Love it. Yeah. I'm definitely going to be more conscious of starting a routine. Maybe Chris and I will work on that one.
Yeah. We'll have to do an episode down the road, like Brady and Chris. How is your routine going?
And then always being open to fine tuning it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. For sure. I don't think you can ever have.
You can never
fine-tuned
perfect
enough.
it.
Yeah, but then
True.
not worrying about the perfection of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Going back to listening to your body. So awesome. Stay in touch with us. Revolutionary Wellness on Instagram, and we'll be back with a new episode next week.